We're done with the men's doubles for now. Let's move on to some good news for India, and this is from hockey. As Michael Nobbs, I can see the broad smile on his face. The men have begun the campaign with a 3-2 win against Ireland. Now, India took the lead in the final moments of the first quarter when Raghu scored from a penalty corner. Right at the end of the second quarter, Rupinder found the back of the net with a thunderous stroke from another penalty corner as India led 2-0 at half-time. John German pulled one back for Ireland, but Rupinder completed his brace from the penalty corner to make it 3-1 in the fourth quarter. The Irish scored again through Connor Hart, but couldn't manage an equalizer as India came away with a win. First and foremost, good to start off with a win and full points, but the strategy in the last quarter, if I could start with that, running down the clock, player trying to attack on the counter. Have you not seen this strategy time and time again? Why hockey, even Indian football, tries to adopt the strategy and never seems to work?
Oh, it just amazes me. I mean, before we start, a win is a win, and as I said, it was always going to be a very close game, and they are a very, very tough team. You know, they had 8 penalty corners to India's 6. If they had a good penalty battery, they would have won the game, but India almost managed to snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory, and they do this time and time again. It must be very frustrating for Altmans because it seems to be a pattern.
Would you concede, Michael, that perhaps the game was far closer than what the scoreline finally suggests?
The statistics indicate it was reasonably close, although India did have the better of the 25 penetrations, circle penetrations, but once again they don't make enough of them. They get there and then nothing happens, and all of a sudden the opposition gets an opportunity, gets a sniff all the time. If India could close off a game or they create opportunities but finish them, they could put teams away, but this seems to be a perennial problem with them.
For the first 2 quarters, Michael, the teams looked to be composed, pretty well set. They knew what they were doing about, but perhaps in the third quarter the Irish found their way back a little bit. Why so?
Well, India actually had much better control in the first quarter. Ireland came back in the second quarter. India then came back a bit in the third quarter. But the last quarter, the Irish really started to get on top. They started to press the Indians because they knew they were 2 goals down. And once they started to press them, the Indians started to make quite a few mistakes that could have been quite costly.
Would you be satisfied with the performance if I just ask you not to look at the 3 points, not to look at the win, the scoreline, but would you be satisfied by the performance, keeping in mind who you are up against next?
If I was the coach, you're never satisfied. So it never matters how well you play, you're never satisfied. I think it's also, you don't want to be playing your best hockey in the first game of the tournament as well. So I think they will improve, but I think they're playing Germany next, and that's going to be a substantially tougher game because the top 3-4 teams in the world are substantially better than the 5th to the 10th team in the world. So it's going to be a pretty tough game to the next one.
Right. I need to tell my viewers, just keep in mind that Michael Nobbs from our next game, from next India game, will actually be doing a more full-on statistical breakdown of the way India plays. Tonight, though, he's going a little easy, thanks to us. But Michael, if there is one weakness which you have spotted in the way India played, not on the team, but in the way India played tonight, what would that be for you, and what would you do to rectify that?
India, well, it was shown by Germany after the last Olympics. They basically reinvented the style of hockey. Instead of going down through the wings and the corners all the time, they learned how to play directly through the middle, and that became a more efficient way of scoring. India, I think, went through the sides 29-30 times, maybe more than that, I can't remember. But percentage-wise, it's not the most efficient way to get into the circle. So if they could start to concentrate a little on changing the pattern slightly, instead of the old traditional go down through the wings, whack it across, that might be more efficient. So they just don't get enough from getting in the 25s.
All right, we'll get back to Michael Nobbs once India plays, but he continues to stay on because there's much more to talk about. We're done with the first game. It's obviously always good to start with a win. At least, unlike other sport, we have registered a win. There's something to talk about and something to celebrate too. That does it for hockey as far as tonight is concerned. Now, back to shooting.